your firm has done extraordinary work in terms of creating legal frameworks for yet-to-be-born industry. Nishith bhai, you will remember way back in ICICI when Mr. Shekhar Kapoor was there, we had the whole discussion with Mr. Kamath as well and the government on how do we make India a great filmmaking destination and what kind of tax incentives we need and what does UK government do and so on and so forth. So Nishith bhai is a person who is thought of first when you think about the next industry. I know the amount of work your firm has done in blockchain and so on and so forth, way ahead of time. So that's your natural DNA. Your natural DNA is to think ahead in terms of new industries and how legislations and legal frameworks have to be born for those new industries. Can you also wear the other hat of who is my client? As opposed to saying, I need to give a legal opinion, can you think about my client needs a solution? And today when we have, this is what my team tells me, that when we have companies like Neo where we have invested or Dream 11, we are forced to look at international law firms for dealing with the documents of US incorporated companies. I think your firm probably has the capability as well as any of these foreign firms. I guess probably a little more attention in terms of specialization, in terms of communication of your specialization to our industry, in terms of saying, and also building the network with other international investors, because you start with a document, because people like us are not the first investors. How can your firm step up in terms of giving the same level of confidence as some of your international peers are doing? Because increasingly, as we discussed earlier in the first session as well, these borders are going to blur and one day going to become quite irrelevant. Am I an Indian company? Am I a Delaware company? Am I a Cayman Islands company? Is going to be quite irrelevant. And even as a firm in multiples, I'm thinking that why should I think of an Indian company? Maybe I need an angle to win the deal. I need an angle to create value. So can I think of Indian entrepreneurs? Can I think of Indian talent as areas in which multiples can expand? So likewise, in your case, how do you bring that, your proficiency to the market and make the market believe that we don't need a Goodwin or we don't need somebody else in the international market for those transactions? Will give you, another vector of growth. And lastly, I would say, to bring my ecosystem point to bear, can the lawyers, the financial analysts, and the investors, at least the three of us, come together and say that if we have to give confidence to international investors, if we are the driving force of this economic engine, how should we reorganize ourselves, our mind, more importantly than our work? Because your professional capability is just the same. The way we package, the way we present, the way we think, the speed, the importance that we give to speed, to solution finding, to confidence building, averting a problem 5 years from now, which is, that every bust we have is a confidence killer, right? And then we take another 5 years to build the confidence of the investors to come back. How do we avert these future accidents would go a long way in building an economic engine which will drive the growth. So I will just stop here and happy to take any number of questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you all hear me? Thank you. Wonderful, I think, exposition, and so kind of you to think of our firm, the future. And just as a matter of response rather than question, if I may just tell, the way in which we look at the future and future of law firm is that our role used to be compliance at one time. It's all compliance, right? Compliance will be all automated. Next phase, from that to transactions. So today we spend a lot of time doing transactions and, all these billable hours and whatever you call it, right?